Hello and welcome to the State of Healing. I am your host, Natasha L Brown, and this week we will be discussing finding the right way to trust people, giving tips on how to trust. And you'll be amazed at what we're going to find out by the end of the session. So, just want to give a disclaimer. This is an informational session. I am not a medical professional. This broadcast will be used to assist in you starting a holistic journey, not to diagnose or treat you. So definitely at any time, if you need to, seek professional help from your personal care provider or your primary care provider. Also, as you are watching this, definitely make sure you go ahead and like this video, subscribe to our page, as well as click the notification bell so that you can get updates when we are posting. And also share your experience in the comment section. How did this work for you? What would you like to see more of? Did the tips not encourage you? What is it that you're needing more assistance in? Definitely go ahead and put those things in the comment section. So again, we want to share some ways to trust people. So if you have trust issues, I was reading an article in Psychology Today, and it was talking about, is it really the people that we've selected to trust, or is it that we are trusting the wrong people? And with many, especially holistic healing, it's always the responsibility of the person. So I am responsible for myself. You are responsible for yourself. What comes into my personal space, into my vortex, into my personal field, all of that is designed and chosen by me. And many of the things that may not be or look productive at the beginning are not things that we necessarily want to say that we have chosen or that we have agreed to or that we have brought into our space, but it's true. Anything you read holistically, anything you read about meditation, manifestation, abundance, any of those practices always come back down to you or me. Self is always about self. So with dealing with trusting people, if you've had issues in the past and now you've developed a trust issue, then it comes from not choosing or thinking you haven't chosen the right people. Maybe you've made a particular choice or allowed someone into your personal space too quickly, or allowed someone access to places they should not have been. So it could be a number of things. So definitely keeping in mind what you are doing and how you are choosing those that are around you. Everyone is not your friend, no matter what social media is saying now. Everyone is not should not be in your space. Let me say it that way. Should not be in your space. So definitely keeping in mind who you are, what are you looking for in people? How do you know who to trust? And sometimes it's more instinct than anything, but I do have a few tips that I have collected from a few different articles. And like I said, Psychology Today had a really good one, and it was giving some examples of how initially we may think we're choosing and trusting the right person, but down the line it may turn out a little different. So trusting your instincts is definitely always something you want to do in any relationship, whether it's going well or whether you feel uneasy about it. Definitely examine yourself and know who you are and who you need around you. You know, what's going to make you productive? What's going to hinder you? If you've had to overcome certain things and you don't want to go back to those addictions or things you've abused in the past, or you've been abused, so different things will warrant different practices or guidelines, I'll say, in order to move forward. So just a few things we want to keep in mind. The golden rule in trusting people is to judge someone based on what they do, not what they say. And that's a big one for me, because words are so valuable, and a lot of times we take those things for granted. We say things, we think that they're politically correct, we try to gauge people, we say what we think they want to hear. When you are dealing with certain people, and I'll take myself for an example, I like truth. Sometimes truth hurts my feelings. Sometimes it'll hurt your feelings, but truth is all, you cannot deny truth. Once you have truth, there's no question about what's going on, what's happening. When you have truth, that gives you a solid foundation to stand on. And most people are not able to tell their truth or tell the truth, which are two different things. So saying what you think you want someone to hear and are using words to manipulate people and then being disappointed or upset because what you said did not get them in the direction that you wanted them to go or get them in position for what you were looking for. Just be honest with people. Be truthful. And when we are truthful, it makes for a better relationship. Even if that truth hurts and you need to end the relationship and move on, at least you have no question about what took place, what happened, or what was going on. You had truth. So definitely making sure that you are able to trust someone's words. And again, that intuition, that instinct, you'll know the difference. Also, what makes you trust someone in the first place? And that you have to do that self-examination. Why did I trust that person? Why am I trusting this person? You can have a long-lasting relationship. What makes me trust that person? Especially if you have lifetime relationships. I have a relationship with my best friend. We have known each other since middle school. And with that type of relationship, the trust is something that has grown over the years. And it initially came out of in middle school. It's not like you had a whole list of guidelines. Either you liked the person or you didn't like the person. Plain and simple. But as an adult, there are a little more details that need to be shared, are given and taken into consideration, especially depending on what the interaction is with that particular person. You wouldn't trust someone to do your taxes. You went to their place of business and you could not tell they did taxes. Even if it's someone that does it out of their home, you still want to feel comfortable that your information is going to be safe, because that's vital and important information that you're sharing with them, and that they're going to send it off in a timely manner. So trust. There are a lot of different things, and that's something a little more serious than trusting maybe your coworker and you all are developing a friendship. That's going to be something that may take a little longer. One major thing when I was working through some trust issues, God told me while I was driving that, you say you don't trust people and you're having an issue with XYZ, but you're on the road and you're trusting people to stay in their lane. At the light, you're trusting people to follow the signals. At a stop sign, you are trusting people to read the sign. So in certain instances, we say we have trust issues, but really, what is it within us that's making us have that issue? Again, it could be something we did previously, and maybe this person is reminding us of them, the last person that we couldn't trust. So that creates an issue and a barrier to really give the current person a chance to befriend you, to be in a romantic relationship, to service, maybe do some work around your home. So all of that has to be taken into consideration. So why do you trust people? So definitely self-examination. That last relationship that didn't end well and you feel like you were betrayed, what is it about that person that even allowed them into your space close enough for them to betray you? We go out to eat all the time and we trust that the food we're being served is not deadly, because we're blessing it and we're eating it. So we're trusting that the cook, the wait staff, everyone that's coming in contact with our food, especially if you're going to a fast food restaurant, you're trusting that they are giving you safe food, right? So even breaking it down that small, trusting your surroundings, trusting yourself. If you have an issue with trusting yourself, then that definitely creates a major issue with trusting anyone outside of yourself, outside of your personal space. Trust issues with others stem from not trusting yourself, and that's what I was saying. So trust the correct people. I had an incident a couple of months ago, someone that I probably was trusting more than I should have been trusting, and sharing things and confiding in this person, and they used that information that they learned against me. And what was amazing to me is when the issue was confronted, I could not get a straight answer. So in that type of situation, was it really my issue or was it their issue? And working through it in therapy really helped clarify some things because of the simple fact that, like I said at the beginning, taking responsibility for your part. And when you take responsibility for your part, it brings about a different perspective. Because many times we want to get a why, and based on my personality type, I need to know why. And why is always a strong thing for me because, like I said, truth and words are very important. Truth, I love truth, even when it hurts me. I'll cry and move on. I'm sensitive anyway, so I may cry if it doesn't hurt me. But truth is a beautiful thing because it gives me my why. It helps me move forward. Truth is definitely a healer. And many people can't tell the truth because they don't know why they did a certain thing. I was talking to my son about something a couple of weeks ago, and I said, "What made you do that? Why would you do something like that? You know you shouldn't have done that." And he simply said, "I don't know why I did it." And it enlightened me. I've heard that before, especially from young people and children, but that perspective was different because of simply sometimes even as adults we do things and we don't know why we do them. We may instinctively do something, we may do something out of routine or habit, but what is it? If we're doing things and there's no intention behind it, it can either create havoc or it can create a mindless routine. So definitely intention, being intentional about everything you do, definitely with a foundation of trust brings about a productive relationship. So finding out what was really going on in that relationship, I have not gotten any clarity on that. But when I began to look at why I trust people, and my take on it is always trust the person until they prove that they cannot be trusted, which one of the guidelines is going to contradict that. But that's always worked better for me because as an empath, usually I can pick up on whether I should be trusting this person. Sometimes in one instance, especially with people that approach me in certain ways, usually it's in a manner that may be threatening. There is something in my back that tightens up, and I know that I don't need to even go any further with this person. There's no need to go any further with this person because there is something going on where I am not able to trust them and they are not able to trust themselves. So there is no need for me to move forward. And there are things that when I'm in certain people's presence that I will pick up on. So if you're getting that instinctively, you're feeling that intuitively, definitely. There's no need to try and change someone. There's no need to try and work that out. And it could be that that person needs to work on themselves. And then when you see them again, it may not even be a problem. But at that time, if you don't feel safe, if you feel like there's something wrong, trust that and move forward. Let's see. Our next one, you cannot make other people trustworthy as much as we want to. Some people we love so much, we just want to make them trustworthy, but they've proven time and time again that they're not trustworthy. So what do we need to do? Move on. That moving on thing can be so burdensome because many times we don't want to move on. We don't want to push past what we're seeing, what we're feeling. And that has been one of my biggest hindrances, seeing people's potential. And you cannot build a relationship off potential, which is always amazing to me how I will begin to get back into that routine so easily and so much comfort in that. But if they're not exhibiting that they are going to put effort behind that potential, nothing is going to come of that potential. That's with any of us. People can see something in us, but unless we're willing to develop that, all it's going to be is potential. So you definitely have to move forward because you cannot force people to do something they don't want to do or don't know how to do. And again, I don't know why I did it. They may not know how to do a particular thing. So we can't make people trustworthy. Let's see, determine which warning signs you missed in past relationships and apply those to future relationships. That will bring about a lot of clarity, especially if you're strong enough to go over what your part was, what your responsibility was. Why did I choose this person? Why did I think this person was okay when someone else had already said such and such and such? And you don't always want to take someone else's account, because maybe they had a bad relationship, but you and that person may not have a bad relationship. So you can't always go based on that. But if 5 people have said the same thing about this person, you might want to keep your trust to yourself and move on. So being wise, definitely, in everything that we're doing. Some of the guidelines, we're not going to call them rules. They're just guidelines that we want to talk about, and I'm just going to go down the list and then I'll come back and elaborate on them. So we seem to trust people more readily that seem genuinely happy, that we've known longer. Remember that building of a relationship. We usually trust people gradually, especially if we know they're going to be around a while. People that are physically attractive, that's been proven when we vote for any office, especially the presidency. A lot of times, if you go back through history, most of people that are handsome, now if you have 2 non-attractive people, then it's going to be based on certain things. But if you have one person that's more attractive than the other person, usually the attractive person does win, which shows we are very superficial. But in any case, physically attractive people we'll trust a little more. So definitely have to keep that in mind. Look beyond the physical. Also, people that can match their words to their behavior. That's always going to be my best and favorite. People that display vulnerability. So I'll go backwards. People that display vulnerability, that share, that are open, those are always people that we're going to trust. And definitely you have to be mindful of that, because some people may overshare, and whether you can trust them or not, they maybe become a burden on you, especially if you're someone that's sensitive and picks up other people's situations and carry those things easily. You want to be mindful of that. But people that are vulnerable, that are open, that are willing to share, that have many things in common, maybe you all have gone through some of the same things, those are people that we are more likely to trust. Also, people that match their words with their behavior, that's a big one for me. We've touched on that one. That one is always key. Even when someone says they're going to do something, if they can't do it and they come back and say they can't do it, and even if they give an option of someone else that may be able to do it, or at least being honest enough to say that I thought I could do it and I can't do it, that always makes for a great relationship. Beautiful trust from that, because you know that even when they are not dependable, they are dependable enough to let you know that they're not going to be able to follow through. That's always somebody that you're going to be able to trust. Let's see, physically attractive. And again, the example I gave was voting for people in public office. And in the article, it talked about that's why a lot of your con artists, and also with the one that genuinely happy. So con artists have figured out how to utilize attractiveness and the point of being happy. Especially if you're not happy and you're in the presence of someone that's happy, you want to be in that person's presence more, right? So they've learned how to use that. So we're talking about trust, so keep that in mind. So with trust, definitely you want to keep in mind how you are encountering that person, especially initially when you encounter them. What is it that drew you to that person? Did they speak to you first? What was said? All of that needs to be taken into context, all of these guidelines. People that we've known longer, we're going to more than likely trust, especially if it's someone that you've known a long time, they're not dependable, they're not trustworthy, then you have your answer there. There's no need to even try to, like we said, trying to make someone trustworthy. You're not going to get that out of someone. They have to be willing to work towards their potential. So with those guidelines, those are always beautiful things. Formula for trusting someone. So, state of healing, right? First of all, we want to find out why we trust people in general. And you can start with relationships where you felt that you've been betrayed and find out what happened and move from there with the pros and cons, and then utilize that in order to move forward in new relationships, even current relationships. Am I trusting the right people right now that we're in relationship with? And these are any form of relationship. Amazingly enough, some parental relationships, the parent and child cannot trust each other. So any relationship, you want to use these guidelines to maintain basically your mental health, your state of healing, your state of wholeness, your state of being selflessly selfish enough to make sure that you are protecting yourself and not just giving over because it's family, giving over because it's someone you've known for a long time, allowing someone to manipulate you into trusting them. So definitely keep all of those things in mind. So some of the things you want to do, and like I mentioned, these are a few more guidelines on how we can trust people. So don't automatically trust someone, especially people you don't know. And that's why I say take into consideration the entire interaction. You know, what happened when you first met the person, right? What did they say something? Did you say something? And evaluate all of that. And at the end of the day, we should be examining our day anyway. So definitely want to take that into account. Do provide a chance for people to prove themselves trustworthy. You know, if you're the type of person that you have to do everything yourself, it's going to be hard to be able to trust people because you're not willing to allow them to assist you. Keep the factors of trust in mind. What's important to you as far as trusting someone? Always have that in the forefront of your mind, so as you're interacting with people, you'll be able to see whether they're exemplifying those things or whether you need to move on. Some interactions are professional interactions, and you need to interact with that person on that level, not try to befriend them, and move on. Do what you're supposed to do. If it's business, keep it business. If it's personal, keep it personal. Okay? Learn how to separate. Be aware of your own bias and trust issues. And we talked about that initially, because if you don't examine yourself, if you don't find out what part you played, the responsibility of that particular issue or situation, then it creates a blockage or it creates a barrier for that next relationship you wanted to start. It could hinder current relationships. So definitely keep those things in mind. And the last one in the article said, don't be dumb. It's okay to give someone a second chance, but not 100th chance. And that's so true. Like I said, with a potential thing, especially if it's someone you love, it's a family member, it's someone you believe in, you are hoping they can get it right, they're going to do something different this time. Protect yourself and move forward. If they are not showing a change in behavior is not there. You have to be able to move on. So these were just a few of the things, and judge each person in each situation independently. Put your trust in people who not only seem trustworthy and reliable, but again, present the action of being trustworthy and reliable. So again, this is Natasha L Brown, and we are here with the State of Healing, and we'll have a couple of series. So if you're looking for something self-healing wise that you would like me to share as a topic, let me know. And put in the comments some of the things that you've gone through, lessons you've learned, and that's helping you now better trust people. Let me know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like this video. And make sure you subscribe to the page, as well as click the notification button. And this week's topic was tips on how to trust those that are around us. Definitely want to always share and encourage you. And I want you to always remember that I love you and that self-love, self-compassion are your superpowers. I'm Natasha L Brown. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great week.